I never thought heartbreak could come from a slam dunk. Yet there I was, sitting in the bleachers, watching him, the golden boy of our university, flying across the court as if the world belonged to him. And maybe it did. Maybe every scream from the crowd, every cheer echoing through the gym, was proof that he had already won it all. Except me. His name was Dylan Carter. My roommate, my tormentor, my secret. The first night he walked into our shared dorm, tossing his duffel bag on the floor like he owned the room, I felt my stomach twist. He had the kind of presence that swallowed space, 6'3", broad-shouldered, with a grin that could melt steel. He didn't just walk into my life, he bulldozed into it, shirt half unbuttoned, sweat still dripping from practice, smelling of cologne and basketball leather. And me? I was Evan Brooks, scholarship kid, literature major, the type who found more comfort in books than in people. I had no business being in the same room as someone like him. He belonged on posters. I belonged in the margins. But fate, cruel and curious, had decided otherwise. "You read too much," he teased one night, plopping down on my bed without asking. His weight sank the mattress, pressing me closer to him than I could handle. His skin glowed from the shower, damp hair falling over his forehead. "Don't you ever, live a little?" "I am living," I muttered, hugging my notebook like it could shield me from the storm of his presence. He chuckled, low and warm, and my heart betrayed me with its wild rhythm. I hated it. Hated how my pulse quickened every time he laughed. Hated the way my eyes lingered on his jawline. Hated how the thought of him brushing against me was enough to set my entire body on fire. Because there were rules. Silent, ironclad rules. Guys like Dylan didn't look twice at guys like me, at least not in the way I wanted. And if they did, it always ended in cruelty. Still, the walls of that dorm room began to close in. Shared late nights turned into shared secrets. I learned he hated the pressure of being everyone's hero, that he feared disappointing his dad more than losing any game. He learned I wrote stories, most of which I never dared to show anyone. One night, though, he caught me. I had fallen asleep at my desk, notebook open. Dylan's voice woke me. "Evan." I blinked, disoriented, until I saw him holding the notebook. My chest froze. He was reading the words I had bled onto those pages, the ones about a boy in love with someone he could never have. My throat locked. "Give it back." But he didn't. His eyes lingered, softer than I had ever seen them. "Is this about me?" The silence between us roared louder than the entire stadium crowd. I wanted to deny it, to laugh it off, but my face betrayed me. Red, burning, exposed. The world tilted. "Evan," he whispered, and the way he said my name wasn't mocking, wasn't cruel. It was something else. Something dangerous. I stood so fast my chair scraped against the floor. "Forget it. Just forget you saw anything." But forgetting wasn't possible. Not when his gaze followed me everywhere. Not when the air between us crackled with unspoken words. Not when every night after, I felt his presence too close, too heavy, too consuming. Then came the breaking point. It was after a game, the whole campus celebrating. Dylan had girls hanging on his arms, guys slapping his back, everyone wanting a piece of him. And two slipped out, disappearing into the shadows of the campus quad, clutching my chest as if I could hold my heart together with my bare hands. But he found me. "Evan." His voice cut through the night, sharp, desperate. He ran up, breathless, sweat still clinging to him. "Why did you leave?" I laughed bitterly. "Because I don't belong there, Dylan. I don't belong with you." He grabbed my wrist, firm but trembling. "Don't you get it? You're the only person who sees me. Not the jersey, not the fame, just me." My world tilted again. His eyes shone under the lamplight, raw and pleading, as if he was one wrong move away from breaking. "Don't," I whispered, though my body leaned closer, traitorous. "Don't say things you don't mean." He shook his head, jaw tight. "I mean every damn word." And then God help Mehe kissed me. It wasn't gentle. It was reckless, hungry, like he had been holding back for too long. My notebook slipped from my hands, forgotten on the grass. as his lips claimed mine with a desperation that stole the air from my lungs. For one breathless, impossible moment, the world made sense. But reality is cruel, because the next morning he wouldn't even look at me. The silence the next morning was louder than any fight. He dressed quickly, pulling on his team jacket without a word, avoiding my gaze like the kiss had been nothing but a drunken mistake. Only we hadn't been drunk, and it hadn't been a mistake not for me. I sat on my bed, numb, replaying the night over and over. The way his lips had trembled against mine, the way his hand had cupped the back of my neck like I was something precious. None of it felt fake. But then why couldn't he even look at me now? By the time the door slammed shut, I wanted to tear my own heart out. The days that followed blurred into something crueler than any nightmare. Dylan became a ghost in our room. He came in late, left early, barely spoke. When we did exchange words, they were clipped, polite, strangers pretending to share four walls. And two was drowning. My stories stopped. My notebooks gathered dust. Every night I lay awake, staring at his silhouette across the room, wondering if he was awake too, wondering if he thought of me at all. And then the whispers started. Someone had seen us that night in the quad. I didn't know who, but I overheard fragments in the cafeteria, in the hallways. Carter and his roommate. Followed by laughter, by disbelief, by cruel little jabs. Dylan's teammates ribbed him in the locker room. He laughed it off, of course, because that's what golden boys do. But when the locker room door closed, when he came back to our dorm, his laughter was gone. He was stone, shoulders heavy, eyes hollow. One night I couldn't take it anymore. "Dylan, just say it," I blurted. My voice cracked. "Say you regret it. Say it meant nothing. At least then I'll know." For the first time in days, his eyes met mine. They were tired, broken, like a storm that had been raging too long. "I can't," he whispered. "Because it wasn't nothing." My breath caught. "Then why?" "Because if I let myself have you, Evan, I'll lose everything else." His voice broke, raw and jagged. "My team, my dad, my scholarship. Everything I've worked for. Do you understand?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake him and tell him that love wasn't a crime, that hiding would kill him faster than any loss on the court. But I couldn't, because part of me understood too well. So I nodded, even though my chest was caving in. "Yeah, I understand." That night, I cried silently into my pillow while he lay awake across the room. Two boys, inches apart, miles away. The turning point came weeks later. It was the championship game. The stadium roared, lights blinding, pressure suffocating. Dylan was on fire, scoring point after point, but I could see the weight he carried, the cracks forming. And then, in the last quarter, he froze. The ball in his hands, the crowd screaming, and he froze. His eyes scanned the bleachers, as if searching. And then they landed on me. For a heartbeat, the noise faded. Just me and him, across the chaos, locked in a truth we had both been running from. He made the shot. The crowd exploded. They won. But when the buzzer rang, when his teammates lifted him on their shoulders, Dylan wasn't smiling. His eyes never left mine. Later that night, he found me in our dorm. No words, just a storm in his chest that finally broke free. He grabbed me, slammed the door shut, and kissed me like the world could burn around us and he wouldn't care. "I can't keep pretending," he whispered against my lips. His hands trembled on my face. "I don't care if I lose everything else. I can't lose you." Tears blurred my vision. "Dylan," his forehead pressed to mine, desperate, fragile. "Tell me I'm not too late." I choked on a laugh sob, my fingers clutching his jersey like it was the only thing anchoring me. "You're late, but not too late." And then, for the first time, we let ourselves belong to each other. Not in stolen moments, not in silence, but fully, recklessly, beautifully. The weeks that followed weren't easy. Whispers turned into rumors, rumors into truths. Some people sneered, some walked away, but others surprised us with support, with quiet nods, with acceptance. Dylan faced his father one Sunday afternoon. I waited outside, heart in my throat, until he came out hours later. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse, but his shoulders lighter than I had ever seen. He didn't take it well, Dylan admitted, but he didn't throw me out either, and that's a start. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. At night, in our tiny dorm room, we learned how to be us. We studied together, fought over the last slice of pizza, shared headphones, fell asleep tangled in the narrow dorm bed that suddenly felt like the safest place in the world. Sometimes, when the weight of it all pressed too heavy, Dylan would bury his face in my neck and whisper, "You're my home, Evan. No court, no crowd, just you." And I'd whisper back, "Always." Looking back, I realized love isn't about the grand gestures or the dramatic confessions under the stadium lights, though we had those too. It's about the quiet mornings, the laughter in between, the choice we made every single day to stand beside each other no matter what. He was the university basketball player, my dorm roommate, my heartbreak, my salvation, and somewhere along the way my heart stopped being mine. It became ours, forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.